and welcome to another Women's Health Tech Wednesdays. My name is Nina, and I am very excited about our guest today, Lora DiCarlo. Before we jump in, I wanted to give a quick background on myself. I am a consultant and design researcher in Kaiser Permanente's Health Innovation Shop, where I design and deploy digital health solutions. With me today, I have founder and CEO Lora DiCarlo. Welcome, and thanks so much for joining.
Hi, Nina. Thank you so much for having me today. I love working with HipLab and super excited about this today. I guess a little quick background on me. I founded a company, my namesake brand actually in 2017, but we actually really started to hit some traction in late 2019 when we were about getting ready to release our very first product, OSE. And we had been working with Oregon State University to create this technology that would actually was actually designing a robotic form in order to stimulate the glans clitoris and the internal structures of the clitoris at the same time for sexual pleasure, for sexual exploration, utilizing biomimicry, which is completely, one, it's just mind-blowing. Two, it hasn't been done before. So we had applied for this crazy international award at the Consumer Electronics Show. And the thing we didn't expect happened. We actually got the award. If you read the headlines in 2020 or in 2019, you probably saw they also took it away very quickly, and mostly out of shame. At the end of the day, that's what it's all wrapped around, is the shame around sexuality, particularly femme sexuality. So we fought back. And we ended up taking that conversation to an international platform and really running this campaign around the gender bias in technology and the shame that's wrapped around sexuality. So since then, we've actually launched the company in early 2020, about just a little more than a year ago. We went from a one product, single channel brand to a multi-channel, multi-channel brand. Almost overnight. We launched OSE 1. 8 months later, we launched OSE 2. We launched 11 products last year, went from $0 to $7.5 million in our first year in revenue, which is just mind-blowing. I can hardly breathe. But it's also, the hardest thing that I've ever done with my life and the most rewarding. And I think the reason it's rewarding is because we're really rooted in purpose and mission. And that mission is to destigmatize the conversations around sexuality and allow all kinds of humans to explore their sexuality and their identity with positivity and confidence.
That's incredible. For you, I would just love to learn a little bit more kind of about your journey to, your namesake brand, kind of what really prompted you to kind of, embark on this type of adventure.
Oh, an orgasm. A really, really intense orgasm. I was actually, I think I was 28 or 29 years old, and I had this crazy orgasm that actually ended up becoming the product that I ultimately ended up designing for OSE, right? So it was this combined orgasm where you stimulate the glans clitoris on the outside using cunnilingus and digital penetration on the inside, like that come hither motion on the inside. And it was this full body, very intense orgasm. I had never heard of it before. I didn't know anything about it. I had been in healthcare for over 10 years at that point, with aspirations to continue my career in medical. And I was like, why haven't I learned about this, for one? And two, where's the product that's going to help me relive this experience? Because I want to do that on my own.
Absolutely.
And it didn't exist. I looked, I bought all sorts of stuff. Nothing quite did what I wanted it to. And what I was looking for was something that would actually conform or fit my anatomy and be able to be customizable to fit other people. I wanted something human partner in order to elicit that particular kind of orgasm. Because I was, I tried vibrators, but I wanted something that actually felt like a human partner. And I wanted it to be hands-free. I don't know, because free hands, free your mind. We're very cerebral about our orgasm. So I couldn't find anything that did that. So I started asking people, if you want to make something, I do come from a family of engineers, and if you want to make something, you need data. So I was like, well, it was more of a grassroots, I wonder if there's I wonder if there's a trend in this data. I wonder if, and I'm looking in my medical textbooks and I'm not finding anything. So I start asking people, where is your clitoris located? Can you measure it for me? And it started out with just friends and family, and it grew into this much larger swath of people where, I mean, at one point I asked my bartender and she just went, well, that's an interesting question. Let's talk about that. And, but I noticed an interesting trend with everybody that I asked these questions. First off is everybody was really very embarrassed and ashamed to talk about something like this. And then immediately, very quickly after, they were more curious than anything, and just wanted to talk about it more because they'd never had a safe place to talk about it. Right. And then secondly, nobody knew enough about their own anatomy. Like I had to literally talk people through, like, this is where your G-spot is, this is what you do. Yeah. And I began to find out I'm bisexual, and I've dated men, I've dated women. So the women that I dated, I was like, is this just me or is this you too? And I realized it's not just me. And then the third thing was, obviously people want to know, why are you asking such weird questions? Yeah. And I was like, because I think I think that there's a trend in this data, and I think that there's a problem in the marketplace that needs to be addressed, because like we see all this sex. Does anything do this? Is this something that could be solved? And everybody, there was this resounding, like, you do that, I will buy one. When is it ready? When can I have it? And I was like, I love that.
Already there was a waiting list.
Right, yeah. And so I founded the company after about 3 years of just kind of screwing around with that. And it was founding the company was difficult all in and of itself. Like, embarking on that entrepreneurial journey is scary AF. And so I broke through that ceiling, and then just found, after forming the company, we created these values of respect, empowerment, and integrity. And we decided that every decision we were going to make was going to be based on those values. And sometimes that means making really scary decisions, like putting yourself on an international platform for everybody to judge and saying, this is not fair, like when they took our award away. And it's grown from there. It's actually taught me a lot about myself. It's taught our team a lot about themselves. And it's enabled us to really kind of lead the charge where, destigmatizing sexuality through a holistic approach to sexual health and wellness is concerned. And so we're continuing to build that brand to kind of encompass a little bit of everything from the very beginning of your journey until, guess what? That journey doesn't end until the day you die. Yeah. So, starts when you're born, ends when you're done. And we want to be there for folks through every facet of that. And so that's what we're building out. So we don't just have the robotic products, but we also have a wellness line that we're developing, and we're going to continue to develop that line as well. We've got some more stuff coming out pretty soon, which we're really excited about. But that also involves providing education and providing support. Right. So we want to be there for folks through every step of the journey, and really help people to understand that there is no wrong question. As long as you're coming to the table with an open mind and true curiosity, we want to be there for you.
Absolutely. That's incredible. And speaking of that education piece, I know you have a suite of products that I would love to jump into, but what was so cool about you and your company was this wellness coaching aspect of it. And I thought that was just so phenomenal. Would love to learn a little bit more about what that entails. And kind of why you thought it was really important to integrate something like that.
Yeah. So that actually was born out of one. I've been a huge proponent for education since day one, anyway, because we found that the biggest barrier, not just to purchase, as like from a consumer, but the big exploration is a lack of education, a lack of understanding, which is kind of this awful Ouroboros. Like, if you don't understand something and you don't want to learn about it because it's too scary, then you don't understand something and you don't want to learn about it because it's too scary. So we wanted to offer a really safe space for people to just come and ask questions and start to understand more about their own bodies, in hopes that they will start to explore, in hopes that they will come to us again, and that they will allow us to be on that journey with them. So that program is actually completely free. You don't have to buy a Lora DiCarlo product. And you can buy a product and then you can call up and ask about the product. You can call us up and you can ask about the product before you buy it, or you can just call and say, I'm having weird communication with my partner and I don't know how to introduce sex tech into the bedroom. You can call and you can ask them questions about menopause, about masturbation, about communication, about trauma. And the reason you can ask all of those questions now is because we've actually put eight now of our internal employees that are externally facing, so our folks that are in marketing, that are in social media, myself personally, and our head coach, Sherry Tran, who is amazing at really walking people through these products, through just questions they have about their sexuality, is leading up that program, and she's doing a beautiful job. So the whole idea is to offer a very safe space where people can ask any question that helps them to break through that barrier that is keeping them from progressing forward in their sexual journey.
Absolutely, that's phenomenal. Speaking a little bit more about your products, what types of products do you offer?
So we're expanding that line. Originally, our very first product was for people with vaginas. I mean, I guess people are going to put things wherever they want to put them, but that was what it was for. And it was based on my one experience. Okay. What we've grown into doing is actually we created our first suite of products that were robotic and biomimetic in nature. Biomimetic means actually mimicking biological motion. That could be plant, animal, or human. Humans are animals, by the way. So in our case, we're mimicking the sensation or the motion of a human partner that you would have during particularly cunnilingus and digital penetration for OSE1. And so what we did is we continued to expand on that line, utilizing microrobotics in order to create other experiences and sensations. After we did a collection of data, we actually surveyed over 1,500 people, and we asked them a plethora of questions. But one of the things we did ask them was, what are the sensations that you like the most? What does it feel like? What does it do? Like how fast, how slow, all those kind of things. And we got, we netted out with tons and tons of feedback, but we had a pretty succinct top 5, right? So we said, all right, let's make it. And so we made these things, and that is the robotic suite of biomimetic products that you see today. And that's our human touch line. So these are products that feel like cunnilingus, swirling cunnilingus, like tapping all the way to like intense, deep thrumming vibration. And that feeling, that sensation of cunnilingus throughout the entire body of the clitoris. And the clitoris is actually about the same size that you put up peace fingers. It's kind of shaped like a wishbone. So we're trying to stimulate that whole thing with bocce. And so we came out with that line, and then very shortly after that, we started launching bits and pieces of our wellness line, a lube, and oil, and now we've launched a cleaner, and we'll be continuing to launch things that really kind of close the loop on your whole approach to your sexual wellness routine. And another thing we launched in January was our warming line. So we actually have a full team of engineers at Lora DiCarlo headquarters. And they did they were doing a lot of tinkering. One of my favorite parts of my job is I get to go in the lab and work really closely with our engineers and, figure out what's going to be the next coolest thing that we're going to be putting out and how are we testing it. Yes, I test things in the lab, which is always just a hilarious experience. Okay, we literally close the big glass doors, put the giant rainbow flag up over the doors, put a do not disturb, and okay, you go in the lab, we'll see you in 20. One time my mom actually FaceTimed me while I was in the lab. Oh my God. And I was just like, Mom, I am working. And she's like, what are you doing? And I was like,
oh my goodness.
I'm testing product. And she's like, oh, really? What are you testing? I was like, Mom, come on.
That's amazing. Oh my God.
I was like, give me a break. So we've got that warming line, and it's actually really innovative and avant-garde in the way that we've approached the polymer heating technology in order to keep the warming pieces consistent and a consistent temperature, and at 104 degrees, very, very reliable, and not spotty or splotchy. They're really, really luxurious feeling, and very ergonomically shaped. So the next thing that we're going to be doing is continuing that wellness line, and also kind of building out, you know, what that looks like and how do you kind of close the loop on your whole sexual wellness routine. Because the fact is, orgasms are good for you. They're really good for you. They're good. Same study, we asked people, what is the biggest reason that you're masturbating? It wasn't just for pleasure. Actually, the third reason was for pleasure. The first reason was better sleep.
Wow.
The second reason was relieve stress. And the third reason was for pleasure. Wow. So that pretty much screams health and wellness to me.
Yeah, I agree with you on that, 100%.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we're really excited about that. And the one thing that I really want to stress, anybody that's watching, or you know, any of our community and consumers, we're very data driven. And when I say that, I mean, I want to know what the biggest problems are in society, in sexuality, and I want to know what those problems are because I want to solve them. This isn't us trying to innovate inside of a bubble. This isn't my next say, oh, I have this issue. We did that. We want to go on and figure out what are the biggest problems in society where sexuality is concerned, and identity, and how can we make people feel a little bit more comfortable and a little bit more just approaching their sexuality with positivity and confidence, and get excited about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And so there's kind of two things that you mentioned that were super interesting. I think the first one around just kind of destigmatizing the sexuality in general. So if for you, when you think a little bit more about like your philosophy or like next steps, how do you aim to destigmatize sexuality while also filling the market gap to, you know, really expand inclusivity when it comes to anatomies?
Oh, that's such a good idea. That's such a great question, because we're doing it right now. So we actually just launched our very first, and the very first of its kind regulation crowdfunding campaign. We are the very first sex tech company to do this, and when it comes to being a for equity offering. So we're doing this through the Republic platform. So the idea behind this wasn't just, okay, we need to raise funds. Been there. I've raised plenty of funds. And we're moving on to the next stage of that. But what we realized is that if you're going to be a wholly inclusive company, that doesn't just mean making products that are no longer just for vaginas, but they're for all kinds of people. They're for all kinds of experiences, and more experientially driven rather than parts driven. Right. But also, making sure that all kinds of people can participate in your company from all different angles, which means investing to us. So Lora DiCarlo is a great investment and has been wholly available to VC and celebrities. As you know, my co-owner and partner, Cara Delevingne, is our creative advisor and came on with us last fall. And she's fabulous. She's so amazing especially when it comes to just being a really great spokesperson around the advocacy for LGBTQ rights and communities, and for honestly for the environment too. And that's another project we're going to be working on later this year, but that's to come. So anyway, we've been wholly available to VC and celebrities, but now we actually have the opportunity, and we want to democratize investing and allow all people to participate in the sexual wellness industry. None of these companies are public. They're all private. You don't know anything about them. And we wanted to take this opportunity to be fully transparent about who we are, what we're doing, and now allow people to actually invest in this industry. We've had family offices, billionaires, et cetera, that all want to invest. And they actually have come to us and they're like, we know this is a huge, but in sexual health and wellness. The fact is, we all want better sex lives, and that industry is growing. I think in 2016, it was valued at about 23 billion. It is now, in 2019, Allied Market Research Group actually valued the sex tech market not like the wellness industry, but the sex tech market very specifically, in a $4.2 trillion industry of health and wellness.
Right.
The sex tech market takes up $74.7 billion of that as of 2019. It's almost quadrupled in the last few years. So it should be a part of anybody's diversified portfolio. So we want to be able to offer that to anyone. So you can invest anywhere between $100 or $100,000, whatever, you know, and also like personally, and honestly, from a personal note, God, I wish this had been available when I was in my 20s. I didn't know crap about my finances, and you know, I knew how to balance a checkbook, and other than that, I was afraid of my finances, because I just didn't understand them enough. And you know, I think especially with this kind of, we've had so many different kind of awakenings in the last like couple years. I mean, we're looking at you know, and sexuality is one of them. And I think just this year, we're starting to have kind of a financial awakening, and people went in on that. Guess what? The super rich don't get to be just the super rich anymore. Everybody can partake in this. And what is required is financial literacy. And a platform like Republic allows people to educate themselves about these companies and put in their vested interest. Say, I'm gonna throw $100 at that. And you know, your return might be small, but that's how you grow your portfolio. So, you know, if you've never invested before, this is your first time, take a crack at it. Kind of with sex. I mean, sex can be really, really scary your first time. Take a crack at it. You know, do it. Make some mistakes. And I think the one rule of thumb is never invest, you know, what you can't afford to lose. But if you're not willing to take any risk, you're never going to learn anything about yourself. And I think a lot of people need to understand that financial literacy is a part of, you know, a growing, you know, just growing yourself as an individual too, not just your sexuality.
Right. Absolutely. So how can one, you know, consumer, you know, invest, be a part of it? Is it on your website? Is there specific steps that need to be taken?
So you do need it's a little bit addictive. You have to create a portfolio or a profile. It's just like creating any social media profile. You can go to our website at LoraDiCarlo.com. It's LORA, just my name right here, LoraDiCarlo.com, or you can go directly to the Republic platform, republic.com/Lora DiCarlo. But also might as well start with our website and learn about all those fabulous products that we're doing. So do a little bit of homework, but check out the Republic site. And what's really cool is right now, if you're watching this right now, we are trending. We are actually the top trending company on Republic, and we have been for about a week solid right now. And really excited about that. So we're hoping to hit those goals quickly. And, you know, I think what's really interesting, and I've had conversations about this, it's not just, you know, investing in your portfolio and your financial health, but it's also, what do you want to see grow in the marketplace? What do you want to see grow in society? Invest in the things that you want to see grow. Invest in the entrepreneurs, invest in minority groups, invest in LGBTQ groups, invest in women and female founded companies. That's where you want to see, you know, that's how we end up reaching true equity, is having folks that actually go in and say, you know, I want to see more people starting companies and getting funded that look like me. And so stop thinking about it and talking about it on social media. Go do it. Not that hard. All you got to do is make one more social media profile. But I'm sure it's really fun, actually. It's definitely, it's kind of addictive. So just like I'm a weirdo for learning too. So like I got on there and I was like supposed to just be on there like doing the Lora DiCarlo thing and archive. I was, this is so cool.
That's awesome.
I went down a rabbit hole. So
understandable. That's amazing. And then when we kind of think a little bit more, I know we're so close to time, but I just have to ask, for you, you know, when you think about, you know, sex tech and just sexual wellness, what do you want to see in the future? What does the future of equitable and pleasurable sex tech look like for you?
Again, it's 100% about stigma and shame. I think there are a lot of things that people think are kink. People think that, oh, this is like, I'm ashamed of this. I mean, somebody once asked me, what is your biggest goal within this? And this is a similar question. So I think this answer is actually pretty appropriate. If I could get even a handful of people that think that sex is disgusting or totally abhorrent, or masturbation is just absolutely, they're grossed out by the idea because they have so much stigma and shame. If I could get them to even open up and just be okay with the idea, then that's the right direction that I want to go. There's plenty of people out there that, they're like, oh yeah, sex is great. I'm going in that direction. I'm personally focusing on the folks that think it's a terrible, abhorrent act.
Yeah.
It's what makes us human.
Right.
That's what makes us human. You literally wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for that thing that's So yeah, I think it's I would love to see everybody kind of meet on the same like playing field and say, sex isn't bad. It's actually really good for you. Yeah. No matter your kink, no matter, all the kinks and all the weirdness that everybody's like thinking aside, I just want people to be comfortable with the fact that they are sexual creatures.
Mm-hmm. That's beautiful. What a way to end it. That's beautiful. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much for this amazing discussion. We have a lot of really great speakers lined up for our Women's Health Wednesday series, so be sure to check them out. We're also on social media, so you can also find us on LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, and also feel free if you want to share this interview with everyone on YouTube, we'll be there. And thank you again so much, Lora. This was such an amazing discussion.
Thank you so much, Nina, for having me, and thank you for this. This has been really fun. I love, we can talk about this all day. So, and anybody who wants to reach out to us, you can reach us at Lora DiCarlo _HQ, and I'm just Lora _DiCarlo. That's me, and I love talking to people. If you have ideas, bring them to me, because we're gonna change the world one orgasm at a time.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. All right, awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you. See ya.